Dr. Giggles is a 1992 comedic horror film from director Manny Coto. The movie opens with some pretty impressive CGI for 1992. After the blood cells make it to the heart of the patient, he gets cut open.
What is it, Doc?
It's patient 193.
Oh, shit. That's Dr. Giggles. Who? Oh, that's his nickname. Nobody knows his real ID.
Highly delusional, acute schizophrenic with an IQ somewhere in the stratosphere.
Dr. Giggles is operating on someone against their will, and he escapes before the orderlies make it to the operating room.
The patients. He's released the patients.
Those aren't the same people they showed a minute ago.
The patient has expired.
So the doctor steals this guy's car and easily escapes out the front gate. If all the patients were out of their cells, wouldn't there be a full lockdown in effect to prevent this sort of thing? I guess not. Dr. Giggles takes his stolen car and heads back to his hometown of Moorhigh. The cameraman in this aerial shot looks like he's about to drop the camera. We cut to local high school, Moorhigh High, which sounds like a sequel to Half-Baked. Sad hot teen Jennifer is talking to her boyfriend Max. Local whores Corinne and Normie interrupt them.
You know, we might be a little bit on the tardy side.
Well, he definitely is tardy. Jennifer's at the doctor's. She has a bad valve in her heart and may have to have an operation to replace it. Jennifer has to wear this heart monitor for a week to see if she needs surgery or not.
It's more important that you remember to avoid strenuous activity, no coffee, no tea, and especially no alcohol. It's all in here. Ann will show you how to put the monitor on. I'll see you next week.
Over at his old house, Dr. Giggles is tearing down a wall to get into his doctor's office. Jennifer's walking by and hears the banging when she runs into local busybody Mrs. Henderson. She walks home and, wait, her father was here and not picking her up at the hospital? The doctor said no strenuous activity. I guess that didn't include walking several miles with a heart condition. Jennifer then expresses her dislike of her new stepmom, Tamara. Through a flashback, we discover Dr. Giggles is really Evan Rendell Jr., the son of the town doctor. His whole life, all he wanted to be was a doctor. The tardy bunch show up at the doctor's house. This is in no way ripping off the nursery rhyme from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Town's got a doctor and his name is Rendell. Stay away from his house because he's the doctor from hell. He chopped up his patients, every last one, and he cut out their hearts purely for fun.
They explain more of the backstory.
The citizens of Moorhigh surrounded the house, broke in, and they dragged the town doctor into the streets.
And they stoned him to death, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then they came in after his son, but he disappeared.
Discount Matthew Lillard tells the group he thinks Evan is still hiding in the house and they're there to find him. If he's looking for secret passageways, why is he checking the wall to the outside? They search for a while but don't find anything. Oh, I see. This is all just an elaborate setup for the spin-off, Squirrels Killed My Mother. Stu and Diane lock Trotter and Lay in a closet and take off.
Oh, this is just great. Real mature. This was your idea, wasn't it?
Ugh, she gets really annoying really fast.
Oh, yeah, then get me out of here. Trotter, I'm telling you, just get me out of here and just get me out of here.
Welcome to my nightmare, being stuck in a closet with Ellen Cleghorn. On the flip side, I often dream of being trapped in a closet with Gabrielle Union. See, this one time, we reenacted the scene from Bring It On. I was Kirsten Dunst, and she was, I've said too much already. Anyway, back to the movie. Dr. Giggles puts on a suit that is still tailored and in pristine shape, despite the fact that it's been in a closet for 35 years while he was in a mental institution.
Get ready to take your medicine, Moorhigh. The doctor is in.
The doctor injects Trotter with some ecto-cooler, which kills him instantly. He then does the same to Lee. Max, Jennifer, and most of the town's teen population are up on Breeders' Hill overlooking the local fair. Officer Hank and Joe show up to chase the kids away.
Unit 3, possible 311 at 5714 Tivoli Court.
311 is at Tivoli Court? Better call in a SWAT team. They head over to the abandoned house to investigate. The doctor makes his way to Mrs. Henderson's house.
And say ah. No ah.
Who's shooting this footage? The cavity creeps? He then jams a probe up her nose. The cops investigate the house for 5 seconds and give a little bit more of the backstory.
He offed 7 of his patients. Cut out their hearts while they were still alive. His wife took sick. Heart problems. Seems he was trying to find his wife a new ticker. Hell, who knows if I hadn't killed him. Maybe he'd have pulled off the world's first heart transplant.
He also explains about Evan Jr.
Wasn't his kid involved, helping the father out or something?
That's what they say.
There was supposed to be this big mystery, how did the kid get out of the house?
That's what they say.
What do you say?
I don't say.
At the carnival, Jennifer finally tells Max about her bad heart. She then confides in him about how her mother died. This is the face that says, "Oh snap, this girl has baggage and a bad heart." Okay, don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera. Shit, looked at the camera. Jennifer tells Max she just wants to be alone, and again, no one drives the girl with heart problems home. It's not what you think. She's just using Herbal Essence's shampoo. She somehow manages to drop her heart monitor in the fish tank. The doctor sees Stu and Diane, so he heads to their house. A nice little homage to The Exorcist. Dr. Mario, kick ass. Can't believe Nintendo let them use that.
Swiped from my mom's suitcase before she and Dad left for vacation.
You expect me to wear this?
Well, look, right now my mom's probably pretty pissed off, not to mention my dad.
Why the fuck does he want his girlfriend to wear his mom's lingerie? Diane goes to turn the heat up, but is caught by the doctor, who jams a thermometer in her mouth.
Lucky for you, I've discovered the only known cure for the common cold.
Leave it in for at least a minute.
Or does he? Back to this guy, he comes out of the bathroom and he's gonna do it with his hat on?
No. Ever since I found my mom's Victoria's Secrets catalog.
This guy's obsessed with his mother.
I hope you have protection.
The doctor then stabs Pauly Shore in the dick. Just a thought. Diane is about 5'2" and 90 pounds. Dr. Giggles is 6'3" and about 250 pounds. He didn't notice that the lump on the bed was gigantic. The doctor heads downstairs and gives one of the best lines of the movie.
Terminal.
Back at Jennifer's house, she's drinking and looking at old pictures. Oh, she always gets sad when she sees her dad's silly hamburger picture. Upset, she leaves the house right before the doctor arrives. Jennifer's dad goes looking for her, and, my God, fish don't need heart monitors! Realizing she's upset, he goes out looking for her. Tamara is pissed, so she stays behind.
If Jennifer comes back, you tell her to stay here.
Unbelievable.
I know, what an asshole, caring for the well-being of his daughter and all that. Tamara takes this opportunity to pig out on some ice cream. Max is still wandering the fair when Corrine moves in to strike. Corrine invites Max to a party in her vagina.
Do you want to come?
The doctor catches Tamara and pumps all the cherries jubilee out of her stomach.
I know. It sucks.
In the music department at More Hi Hi, there seems to be an orgy going on. Subtle. Real subtle. I think the sax just came. Surprised the T-Mobile girl hasn't worn that dress yet. Corrine then moves in on Max. The doctor finds Jennifer's heart monitor and has a flashback to his mother's death. He finds a picture of her and decides he's going to give her a new heart. Jennifer's at the fair looking for Max. She runs into Normie, who tells her where he is. The doctor spots her and chases her into a hall of mirrors. Max chases after her and Corrine chases after him. The doctor corners Corrine and suffocates her. Now where did he get that oversized novelty Band-Aid? Jennifer escapes by falling down repeatedly. The police take her back to the station. Officer Joe confronts Hank about Dr. Rendell. He tells him what happened 35 years ago. In the morgue, they had all the bodies of the victims of Dr. Rendell, and they also had the body of his wife. Ah, is it an alien?
voice to come out. It was like he was being born again. That was how Dr. Rendell got his son out of the house. He'd sewn him up in what was left of his wife's corpse.
Okay, so Hank woke up and Rendell's wife was all sewed shut. The coroner never noticed that the body is now about 70 pounds lighter and is missing all of its internal organs. Jennifer's dad comes home looking for her. The doctor cuts him, but is interrupted by the cops before he can finish the job. The doctor kills Hank, but at least he gets a shot in before he dies. Rendell heads back to his house to operate on his bullet wound. Dr. Giggles finds Jennifer and has a medical instrument sword fight with Dr. Chamberlain. Chamberlain loses and Rendell strangles him. He then knocks out Jennifer and takes her back to his place. The doctor's getting ready to do the heart transplant. He tries to find the right heart for Jennifer. Joe makes his way to the house and finds where the doctor's been hiding all the bodies. Joe interrupts him before he can start the operation, and the doctor flees.
Get the fuck away from me! Have a heart! Ah! Shit!
Max shows up to help, and the doctor fights Joe so Jennifer and Max can escape. The doctor kills Joe, but the fire in the office blows the house up. Max takes Jennifer to the hospital, and because of all this trauma, she needs to have the valve replacement surgery. The badly burned doctor shows up to continue the surgery with all sorts of wacky contraptions. He chases her into a storage closet where she electrocutes him, and he turns into Daffy Duck.
Try some of your own medicine.
Jennifer stabs him with his own tools, and the doctor breaks the fourth wall to deliver the best line in the movie.
Doctor in the house?
Jennifer wakes up after heart surgery to see her father still alive. Max visits her and... Aww. Such a sweet ending for such a brutal film. The movie was filmed in Portland, Oregon. Moore High was actually Franklin High, located in Portland. Dr. Giggles' house was a facade that was built in an empty park. They did this so they could easily blow it up at the end of the movie. The writer-director Manny Cotto came up with the idea because of his fear of hospitals. He directed a few smaller films after this, but made it big as an executive producer on Star Trek Enterprise, 24, and Dexter. He even wrote a few episodes of Dexter, which, in a way, has the dark medical humor of Dr. Giggles. Holly Marie Combs did a great job as Jennifer. I was surprised to see she didn't do any more horror films after this. She did have a tiny role in The Craft, which is ironic since she went on to her biggest success by playing Piper in the long-running show Charmed. The great Australian composer Brian May did the score. This is one of my favorites of his because it goes from ominous to silly and really fits the movie. Sadly, this was the last of his full movie scores since he died of a heart attack in 1997. This movie will always be a dear favorite of mine. I still remember seeing it in the theater, and even though it wasn't a big box office hit, the crowd loved it. In 1992, Dark Horse released a 2-issue comic miniseries based off the movie. Since the material they were working off of was an early version of the script, there were more than a few differences. For one, the opening was completely different. Another thing was Max gets killed and it was Jennifer's dad with her at the end. Tamara's character was completely different, and there were a few scenes of hers that didn't even make it into the movie, like this dinner party. While it was cool to see what the movie would have been, I'm glad they didn't go with this script. It lacked almost all of the medical humor that ended up on the screen. They also didn't have nearly the amount of doctor's tool-related deaths. A large part of the movie would have been lost without that. For example, in the scene with Trotter and Lay, he kills her with a pickaxe for crying out loud. The shooting script was clever, funny, and pretty mean-spirited. You don't realize it, but Dr. Giggles ended up killing 17 people. Freddy Krueger only killed 4 in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Even Michael Myers only killed 4 in the first Halloween. Jason killed 11 in his debut, and his mother killed 10. It wasn't until Friday the 13th Part 6 before Jason killed that many. I loved so many things about this movie. The way the doctor switched Mrs. Henderson's pill, the over-the-top medical instruments, but the real standout was the Hall of Mirrors scene. It was shot so well and should be better recognized as an awesome scene in horror cinema. However, none of this would matter if not for the outstanding performance of Larry Drake. He absolutely owned every single scene he was in. His presence elevated the film beyond simple slasher fare.
You were dead.
I'm not that good a doctor.
The giggle was perfect and added just the right amount of humor and fear. His lines, no matter how silly, were delivered like that of a true pro.
If you think that's bad, wait till you get my bill.
Watching it now, I'm still blown away by just how fantastic he is. This is one of those magical times where one actor absolutely is responsible for why the movie works. Even though this never became a franchise, Dr. Giggles deserves to be known as one of the best slasher icons of all time.
Time to do what doctors do best.
Oh, and McFarlane? I'm still waiting for my Dr. Giggles figure. You have the Tooth Fairy and Patrick from Species 2, but no Dr. Giggles? For shame!